Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show. Today we are here with on Curious Crossroads with Rachel Starkweather as our co-host. Now, I'm actually very particularly excited about today's episode because Tammy Terrell has come into our field in the last few months. She's been kind of bopping around on the Facebook page and talking to us, and it's really cool when someone new that comes in and you really notice them. There's something about this person. So Tammy, tell us a little bit about yourself, or where'd you come from?
The interview question. Tell us about yourself and why should we hire you? My name is Tammy, and let's see. It's so hard to know where to start, and I'll tell more as we go through the show. But hello, everybody, and thank you. It's such an honor to be here. I am a therapist who currently resides and from Texas, and yes, there are Texans who embrace astrology and actually enjoy it and believe in it. But it was really the impact of living overseas that really made a difference in my life, and that's why our topic, right?
Mhm. Okay. So
I
when
can
you say
tell more too. I'm just not
yeah,
sure what I'll tell.
yeah, feel free to be as long with your answers or as short.
Long-winded.
Yeah,
I'm a Sag Mercury.
yeah, if you talk a long time, we'll sit here. I mean, Rachel and I we just kind of try to calibrate our communication is the only thing, But when you say you're a therapist, what kind of therapist are you?
Good point. Therapists can mean a lot of different things. I am a licensed professional counselor supervisor, which is long words for I'm licensed as a mental health therapist, but also supervise counselor interns who are in training to get them appropriately and ethically out there in the field practicing and doing so uh, in a responsible way.
Hmm, interesting. So, how long have you been an astrologer?
Let's see. I've been drawn to it, 2020 hindsight, as they say. My daughter was born in 95, and I remember taking note of what time she was born exactly and what time my son was born, and wasn't sure why, but I knew it was important. I've always loved numbers, used to be an accountant as well. And started studying. In fact, it was when I was overseas that I started because I love being a Capricorn sun. I love patterns and I love seeing, things that repeat themselves, more importantly, things that don't, and things like that. And so I've been studying for about, I'd say, 6 years now, and started really getting out there, other than dabbling with friends at parties and things like that, really doing readings the last year.
Oh wow! So you've been just wow. I guess I was under the impression you've been an astrologer for a really long time, but a
I
year
wish.
is yeah. So how does being an astrologer alter your therapy?
That's a good point. What drew me to it is people already come in and done a lot of work. I've got a practice also that currently functions. I am a partner of it now as I've kind of moved on from the direct hands-on in private practice, but it's a pretty high functioning uh, center with about 8 or 9 therapists. And what I notice is that we do a lot of work with the clients who are mandated by probation, parole. Um, I don't know, people who really, it's not their first choice to come. And I was amazed by you could sit there and talk with somebody, and within the first session, my thrill was for them to come in, not want to be there and fight me, uh, mentally, put up all the walls, but then walk up going, when's my next session? Because that felt good. And what I started to notice was, and then I found out that there's this thing called trauma informed astrology. And I thought, well, you know, this would be a good marriage of counseling with the chart, and started giving it, kind of dabbling in it like you do with intuition and stuff with clients. And I was blown away by how much it literally just allowed them to open up and feel validated and to understand and to take some of the self blame and shame away. And so I don't know if that makes sense or not, but I was just blown away by it. And now I can't imagine doing counseling without some astrology, at least for my awareness. And if they're open to it, then I will share parts of that. But it helps me to know what is your Mercury, what is your mental style. Like I was saying with my Mercury and Sag, I will say shorter answers, but I'll dive in if needed. And in this case, it is. So
Interesting. So I know we're supposed to talk about your life in other countries, but you're just being so interesting already that we're getting sidetracked. But I have to know, what is trauma informed astrology?
you haven't heard of it either? I don't feel so bad.
No, no, I've never heard of it in all these years.
Well, I'm
Yeah,
and
I know what trauma informed care is. Not trying to interrupt you, but I know what trauma informed care is. But what's trauma informed astrology?
well, or yeah, trauma informed astrology. And maybe I'm saying it incorrectly, but basically the idea that it's not just go in and check your horoscope. It's literally the use of it to dive deeper. Like I'm an Adlerian theory counselor. It's what I was trained in. It's what I identified with in my grad school. So, which is the idea is to go deeper and to understand what the core of the avocado is. Not cognitive behavioral is great, but it's a little bit too surface for me. It's a technique I use with, but I want to go down deep. I'm a Scorpio South Node. I want to go down deep and figure out where the issue is. And, astrology is brilliant for that. And then to find out there's trauma informed astrology, that's where, to me, there are many astrologers out there who use it and don't have the training in therapy. Why wouldn't I use it if I am trained? And that's where I have all my experience. I've been a therapist for 30 years. And so this has just opened up portals and abilities and people going, I want more, because it takes the shame away. If you see some of those placements and those transits and stuff, I'm not a bad person because, or I didn't have this happen to me because I'm just unlucky or I'm doomed to failure. It explains it, and it gives hope, in my opinion. Does that make sense?
Oh my god. Well, okay, so I've been studying Adlerian psychology recently, actually. Like it looks at like the purpose of things, not necessarily the cause of things. I mean, there's a lot to Adler. We could do a whole episode on Adlerian psychology. Like I would
We
actually
should.
love it. Oh my god. But so it sounds like trauma informed astrology would be looking at astrology to uncover traumas and work through those.
Absolutely. It offers hope. It says, okay, this is how long this transit lasted or is going to last. And these are some techniques and some traits and some things that we can utilize to help get you through that. And maybe you'll take a break from counseling, but I'm going to suggest that as somebody who just finished their second Saturn return and really happy for Saturn to get out of Pisces in February. But if you're going through some difficult traits, like that Uranus opposition or Uranus square or whatever, that you can give some guidance in that area and help them. It offers, I get emotional about it. It offers hope. It offers hope.
Well, as a remediation theorist, I love people who are counselors and also astrologers because it's like we can theorize as astrologers about what your transit is, how long it's going to last. But the people who are really in the front lines doing the process work of the actual transit with people are the therapists. I mean, like you could work with somebody with Saturn going over their moon for a year and you could actually do the work with them as the Saturn transit sits there. Whereas a lot of us just know what the transit is, but we don't necessarily know what to do. So if you're listening and you're in a hard transit, you should contact Tammy's.
And boy, I'm probably in it with you. I'm telling you. I've even noticed, and this would be no surprise, I'm sure, to you guys, that, some of the biggest things that have happened to me have involved Uranus. But Uranus is my favorite planet. It's absolutely my favorite. I don't know why. I guess I like the thrill of the live, right? We like the in the moment, and you and I've talked
Where
about
is your
that.
Uranus?
Yeah.
Where is your
What is my
Uranus?
Uranus? My Uranus is that Pluto Uranus combination in Virgo in the second house. That's
Mm.
64 to whatever generation of, yeah. And true to its form, through divorce, lost everything.
Mhm.
But, right next to that Pluto, I lost everything, but, had to prove that I could earn it back.
Wow, interesting. Jenna's here in the in the chat saying that she does trauma informed astrology too. So this is the
Hey.
thing. Maybe we should, as a crew, trip on trauma informed astrology for a while because that's new to me. Is it new to you, Rachel?
Yeah, I mean, I checked out the website because I'd watched some stuff that you had mentioned it, and but it seemed like it was related to evolutionary astrology.
Yes.
Wait,
Yes.
That's all I was able to pull out of the website.
how is it related?
Well, evolutionary being less predictive and more, let's my understanding anyway. I'd love to hear Jenna's view on this, but a deep dive, and let's look at why, and let's look at how to overcome it. I like, at least as I conceptualize, it offers the idea of the person having a sense of power with it. Speaking of Pluto.
Where does the trauma-informed astrology school, where does it have you focus first when you enter a chart?
Um, I think it's I'm not sure about Vedic, but I think it's the typical. What I do is go with, of course, start out with the rising sign, um, and the chart ruler. And then, I get a lot of intuitive downloads too. And intuitively, depending on what the client is wanting, I'm very client centered. And if they're wondering, let's do a kind of like an overview of the top three of sun, rising, moon, and then kind of go from there what they're interested in. For example, I just spoke with one in the last month, who there was a real focus in how am I going to get through this divorce? I feel like my life has been flipped upside down, and enabling her to understand that, what, she too was in her second Saturn return. And let's look at the age 28 to 31st Saturn return. Let's see how those are connected to kind of give you an idea of how you might address this one. And I felt like she finished the session with quite a bit of hope too.
Wow, I'm gonna really associate you with a lot of hope, which I kind of already did. Like you're just there's something about you. You're one of those like if you'd be like if you were at a restaurant in Texas and like the waitress was really sweet to you. I feel like that's you.
Want some sweet tea?
Exactly. I mean, yeah. Okay. All right.
Real quick side note, Tammy Lynn. My middle name is Rachel Lynn or
It
Lynn.
is Lyn.
Yeah, and I'm from the South, and I have served sweet tea many a time and said, "Here you go, darling."
We're all walking diabetics, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't drink it. I can't anymore.
It's
Jeez.
too sweet.
Wait,
Literally.
is sweet tea a drink?
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I thought it was a
It's
tea.
really redundant in Texas. You just say tea and you have to tell them if you don't want it to be sweet.
Mhm. Same in Georgia.
It's Georgia peach.
Yeah.
Yay. Good to,
Yeah.
good
Wow.
to
Okay.
meet you.
Well, this is a good segue into living around the world, which is what we're supposed to be talking about.
Well done. Very well done.
All
I
right.
see what
So
you did there.
Tammy has lived all over the world, and wanted to talk today about what it's like to be an astrologer all over the world. Tammy, what was your vision for this topic?
My ultimate mission is I really struggle with some of the misunderstandings. I mean, I think without saying a lot about what all's going on. I know most people, I think, are pretty aware of everything going on, but a lot of it is ignorance about culture. And I don't mean stupidity. I mean
Not
ignorance.
knowing.
Don't realize
Mm.
how beautiful. I mean, I've got a North Node in the ninth house, and so I already like get a dopamine rush from other cultures anyway, even if it's going down the street and sitting in a Mexican food restaurant. I just love other cultures. But can I give a little bit of background of how I got overseas?
Yeah.
Please.
Okay. Um, I'm trying to linearize. That's a word. That's not a word.
That was a good
My
word.
thinking right
It's a
now.
word now.
It is. It is. I'm not sure how to spell it, but it is. So, okay. Here's a quick and dirty, as I like to say. At the age of 43, my dad died of cirrhosis. You know, he was very much a drinker, and it has a happy ending. But a month later, after his death, and I was age 20, I received a letter from the Veterans Administration. He's was Navy, and that said that me and my brothers got he got the 100%, the posthumous 100% disability, allowing me and my brothers to go to college if we choose. It's Chapter 35 benefits that out of Texas doesn't even exist anymore. This was the first example of I knew I was supposed to go to college, but I had no idea why because, definitely grew up dirt poor, and as they say, and I was just like, oh my gosh, here's my answer. And so I chose to go to college. And because undergraduate, my bachelor's degree was paid for thanks to his benefits, whenever I got done, I decided, because I got my undergraduate in business, went out in the business world, quickly discovered it just wasn't. I mean, I have a business aptitude, but the business environment it left something to be desired for me. And so I went back to school to get my degree in counseling. And so all that, and I can't remember, I would assume if my Uranus is in the 10th house now, I would assume when that midlife crisis thing was a Uranus square. Do you know? Because it doesn't move that fast, right? The Uranus.
It's usually a Uranus opposition at your midlife crisis.
Okay. It had to be that then. Uranus opposition. Yeah, it would be. It would be. Okay. Is whenever I left my marriage of 21 years and decided to open tarot counseling. And literally one day, I wouldn't even call her a friend, a colleague, came up to me and said, I'm going to regret doing this, but this is a new program. They're looking for military counselors and people that are willing to go overseas. And I had never been anywhere. I mean, like even out of town. And I was already 39, 40 years old when this opportunity came. And so, long story short, ended up going over to Germany for 4 weeks and had my whole world opened up. And later on, that gave me enough money to be able to go ahead and open the counseling office that still is functioning today, which just blows my mind. And then later on was enabled to go work in Naples, Italy, South Korea, Okinawa twice, Okinawa, Japan. And but by far my very favorite, enough that I went back 4 or 5 times, 5 years there, is Bahrain, the Middle East, that borders with Saudi. And that's where my idea was completely blown away about what the Middle East is like and all of that. And so I got such an incredible opportunity from this small town girl and limited experiences to see how the rest of the world lives. Like wow, like I was amazed at that the way I had been raised wasn't the only way. And if I can get a little bit probably controversial here, but it's my experience that no matter where I went, my definition of God was everywhere. Yeah, it was with the Hindi, it was with the Muslim, it was with the Buddhist and the Christians. And I really thought that Christianity was only in the US, and half of India is Christian. I had no idea. Like it's and what it enabled me to do, and I suspect I will write about it one day, it enabled me to see that the beauty in these people came in so many forms and so many beliefs and so many devotions that I started to study and see the beauty. And I think I can say that here anyway, but to see the beauty in all of these beliefs. Some of the most incredible people I know are not of Christian faith or Catholic faith at all. And it really had me to assess a lot of things in the last 15 years.
Well, I don't find that controversial because I love God. I'm like a God loving individual.
I love that about you.
But that is so interesting about as far as so I did not expect you to say that though, that what you really found, because I thought we'd be talking largely about what it's like to be an astrologer in these countries, but I think astrology does, kind of go with religion of, spirituality and heaven and earth and, all this kind of stuff. When you say that your God was everywhere, what do you mean there?
Well, I remember one particular assignment because we would go on assignment, right? In Bahrain, Middle East, where of course Muslim are all around me. And when I say Muslim all around, the prayer being broadcast 5 times a day. And there's some kind of effect when you hear a prayer blasted throughout an island 5 times a day. I have this because the crime rate is so low. It's as low as Japan. It's really amazing. I would imagine that's a pretty big subliminal message, but I would see, and I can refer to astrology as well. Uh, but I would, I would walk into the local cold store, which is what they call the convenience store. And, you'd have some women having Christian church service who are Filipina, on the Sabbath. And the Sabbath there is Friday. Friday and Saturdays are days off, or for most cultures, only Friday. They work 6 days a week and have one day off. And that's on Friday there. And then, take a local trip to the Tree of Life is there in Bahrain. And it is absolutely spiritual to go. And you've got the prayer
Wait, is
beat.
it a real tree?
Huh?
Is it a real tree?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Huge. Huge. The Tree of Life is there. Now, I told that there is a Tree of Life in other places, but the Tree of Life that I'm aware of is right there, right at the last exit before you go over into Saudi, is the Tree of Life there. And then, there's the Christian churches that celebrate there on the island as well. And actually, Bahrain is a kingdom. It's not a country. And it's really amazing because they celebrate Christian holidays. They celebrate Buddhist holidays. They embrace everyone. It's really pretty amazing. During COVID, the sheikh actually, the king, he opened up hospital services and everything to every culture, no charge.
Wow.
So it's really now it's in the top, I think, I don't want to misspeak. I think it's in the top 20 something countries to live in.
Wow.
And one of my friends said I need to keep my mouth shut because, everybody's moving there. It's 70% expat. regarding astrology, what I would say is that the culture itself, because I actually opened a practice there as well, they're incredibly private and need to be. For example, whenever I opened a counseling office there, it had to be in a building with other businesses so that my clients could walk in and nobody knew that they were going to a therapist because it's judged very harshly.
Mm.
Um, you're judged to be crazy
Mm.
if you go to a therapist there. And so, as far as astrology, they will embrace it, but only in private.
Wow. Well, okay, so I'm still tripping on the last thing you're talking about, which is okay. So that's just so amazing to think that a country would celebrate all the holidays of the different religions. Like, Rachel, did that strike you as
That's a lot of
Pretty
amazing?
nugget, right?
celebration.
Yeah. How many celebrations is that a year? I mean, what does that look like?
Well, and not to count all of their holidays. The Bahraini holidays, I used to joke because I worked at the school, the American military school that's there. And I swear, I was amazed when we worked 5 days a week because there was always holidays. I mean, a very generous, monarchy there, a very generous. I mean, Bahrain's known to be the ones that connect the UAE, with Saudi, with, Iraq, Iran, all of that. I mean, like, they're the center communication.
Mm.
And enough that during COVID, my company lost its contract because it refused to send us in with COVID to work. And long story short, what happened was, we were told, pack your stuff and get ready to fly out within 2 days, or we can't guarantee that you'll get back in the US. It was very contentious times, right? And I chose to stay.
Wow.
I didn't know what was gonna happen and that Uranus stuff again, but within 2 days, another company came in, but I had no guarantee of that. But I felt such a comfort there. I feel like it's a second home. I'm talking a lot about Bahrain. I've had good experiences.
You have you looked at your astrocartography for Bahrain? Is it good in your astrocartography?
Um, I don't remember what it is. It's not every time I have gone there 5 times, there's been a different experience every time. And it's definitely toward learning lessons, but I can't remember what that is right off the top of my head.
Interesting.
Saturn?
Jenna's asking if Uranus is your strongest planet. I don't know what the strongest.
Not. It is not. I am happy with my strongest planet. No surprise to you guys, it's Mercury. Um, and my second house is the strongest planet, which I really like.
Wait,
My
how do we know
Mercury,
what the strongest planet is? How do you judge that?
Ricky.
Oh, okay, okay. He is a thing. Okay.
Mhm. At least according to, that app. But yeah, Mercury, in that second house of Virgo, but the Mercury's actually in Sag. But anything that has to do with podcasting, with singing or anything, it's just my thing.
Hmm. I love your talking style. This is really fun. I'm okay. So I'm still back to tripping on having prayers being ubiquitously cast through the
Oh, yes.
because you mentioned this. Okay, like I think prayers. Okay, so people. No, I'm going to talk for a second because I have to.
Please
Figure out this.
do.
Okay,
Please.
okay. So okay, so people think like my dad. He's kind of an atheist, and he kind of acts like I'm weak for loving God. And I was like, well, I think you're weak because you can't access thought forms that include the concept of God, and I think you're disabled because of that. Like, so anyway, the point is
Good
I
point.
think that thought forms that are prayers are actually ubiquitously healthy for a culture, right? Like may all of us here in this room be blessed, or something like that. Like all of us are blessed now, right? Like so I think if as a culture you had real prayers that were really blessing all people and that was happening 5 times a day, that would actually provide the thought form that we are all to be healthy, happy, and living our best lives. I mean, So
Uh,
some people would say that's oppressive religious control, but I'm curious, Tammy, what your experience. I mean, do you think it was controlling, or what was it?
well, these are conversations that I've had probably over a beer in the middle of this is the Las Vegas of the Middle East, but
You can have a Texas tea or whatever. Sweet tea.
and
From one
how?
desert to another.
Yeah, so I've had these conversations. I've had these conversations with many Muslim, um, so many different religions, some devout. It comes in all forms there. It's literally like the Las Vegas of the Middle East. If you want to cover, you cover. If you don't, you don't. If you, and they would say that hearing the call to prayer over the, whatchamacallit,
Megaphone.
that's that thing, 5 times a day, it's an invitation to pray. It's not a requirement. And I've
Wow.
had long conversations about, the marriages and how many marriages and what that needs to look like. And it really is kind of to each his own. Some of the best conversations I've had is with a Muslim over a beer. Wouldn't think that.
Wow. It
Think
really
that.
depends on the composite chart. That's my whole theory with like race relations is like if you have a good composite chart, you're like, I surprisingly love my, whoever this is. And like if it's a bad composite chart, it feels like you can't
Yeah,
see eye to eye. And like so, I think so much of that is alchemy of auras. Like how do you smell?
absolutely. Who knew, right? I mean, I went in, was raised beside my precious grandmother in a Pentecostal church up until the age of 12 when I said, okay, this is too much and walked out. Okay. It was too much for me. No judgment. But to walk into the local mall in the Middle East and have 2 women from India asking me if I know God. What? It's
Wow.
interesting. It's like, whoa, wait, Tammy's going to have her ideas shaken up. And boy, were they shaken up.
Okay, you're just like bringing up how the ninth house is like both long distance travel and like religion and philosophy. Like, I really feel like this is affecting your philosophical viewpoint of the world.
It is. It has. And, you know, as long as I'm just being completely open here, coming back to the US because of family, parents getting older, things like that. Kurt Vonnegut said, I traveled the world and came home without a country. And there's some real reverse acculturalism is a real thing. The grief, I've been back 18 months now. The grief is real. It's really real. I love America, but there's a lot of things that I just don't like. I
Like
just don't.
what?
I'm sorry.
Like what?
Well, the first thing that I had to adjust to was how loud everything is. Like in Okinawa, did you know in Japan? Won't surprise you guys. Even the flushes of the toilet is not allowed to be loud. You can barely hear it. Okay, so picture this. I'm living there a year and you adjust, right? You adapt. Like everything is so gracious. And it's exactly how you would picture it on television or whatever. Even the dogs don't bark. Germany either. A lot of the countries that I've lived in, there's no noise. And you're considered to be an American if you're loud. And coming back, that was the biggest adjustment. So my friends learned, or colleagues or whatever, if we go to dinner, I know to get a quiet place or I know to get a quiet corner because it's literally an assault to the ears.
Wait, how did they get the dogs to not bark?
Over time, it's bred out of them. I don't know how. I want to study that more, but it just blows my mind that literally you can walk into a McDonald's and you're going to have a big old German Shepherd or whatever sitting next to its owner inside the restaurant because they're like family. but you never know they're there. So, and it cracks me up. In Japan, and probably other countries too, in Japan, they breed independence in their children. So they will take, you've heard it, but the city bus at the age of 5 to go to kindergarten, right? But the puppy dogs have a scooter, or you know what I'm saying? A stroller. So the animals don't walk, but there's independence. It's interesting.
Okay,
Very great.
I have to ask, what is the astrology? Like, Rachel, feel free to ask any questions. You know how my Mercury's a little more talkative than Rachel's. But what's it like to be an astrologer in the quiet city of Okinawa?
Everything's private. They're open. In fact, they're probably the second and third most open culture to astrology. And
Really?
so I thought that was pretty interesting. Of course, I didn't know that. So, I don't really go really on blast about stuff anyway, but the word gets around. And right now, I would say of my requests for readings, this doesn't pertain to Asia, but probably 80% are from overseas, particularly Germany.
Really?
Your readings are pretty much from overseas?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the connections and stuff. And, my Facebook and everything is tied to a lot of it's
Those
tied
places.
to overseas.
Yeah.
So, sorry, Rachel.
No, being connected to other cultures is an amazing experience. I do a lot of social dancing. So I'm in the salsa and bachata world, and in those worlds, you meet people from all over the world come together.
Amazing.
Yeah, and it's been a huge blessing in my life to have dropped myself into, even in Portland, Oregon, dropped myself into a community that is very culturally diverse.
It's really
Yeah.
beautiful and very open. I love being able to have this conversation. I can't tell you the last time I've really talked about the different cultures. Not that people around me are close to it. It's just I'm finding things are just not conversed about.
Interesting.
That was my biggest surprise, was coming back, because I would come back periodically for 2 weeks, a month at a time before I would go back over or go to a different country, right?
Mm-hmm.
That nobody ever asked about my experiences.
Really?
And I'm like, that'd be the one thing I want to know about. Like, tell me more
Everything.
about it. So it's nice to be able to talk about it, actually.
I'm
The
so
quietness. Sorry. The
No,
quietness was really kind of blew my mind that we live in such a loud environment in the
Very
States, and
loud.
that there's this whole culture around quietness or being respectful to everybody around you through the noises you make.
But
That's incredible.
I have a question about that. So, what if you have a really loud chart? Like you have a Mercury Mars conjunction and you're like a metal singer and you live in Okinawa? Like, what do you do?
Well, it fit in quite well with Saudi, I can tell you that. Um, that's I would love to study that. Like, somehow, I think, in fact, I know that in certain venues, it's very loud, but that's after hours. And the main cultural norm is you don't disturb others without their permission. So in those places, they invented karaoke.
Mhm.
In the karaoke clubs or the karaoke rooms. Yeah.
They have cacophonous environments.
Yes. Yes. Or Tokyo is the most populated city in the world, and you literally you'd hear a pin drop on the trains.
Okay, so Tammy, I have to tell you something. So, as far as in the development theory of the ancient Greeks, I work a lot with ancient Greek philosophy of astrology, and Ptolemy says in the Tetrabiblos that there's 4 influences on a growing creature. Okay, so we are growing creatures. We're plants and animals and humans.
Yeah.
So there's genetics, like what is your genetic makeup? Then your culture and climate, and then your chart. So we always look at this kind of interface between chart and the culture in which you're living, and like you might be one of the experts on this, of like the interface between natal chart temperament and what culture. Like, I'm interested in more about that. Like you're saying, aggressive or loud charts might do really well in Saudi culture. Tell us more about that. That's a really interesting idea.
Well, my experience is that, um, in Bahrain, that's where you go for the weekend. Like, we have a lot of there's a lot of people in Saudi, obviously, and now there's a bridge that connects the 2, okay? We've got a lot of expats that work at in for the, like, Saudi Aramco or Halliburton and all that. They're just over the border, and their getaway a lot of times on the weekends is to come over, do a drive over, and spend the weekend there in Bahrain, where anything goes. And I always knew, I'd forget what day it was, but I was always reminded from some of the noise and things like that. And very different from the Bahraini people, who are they're more like Asians, very quiet, unassuming,
Mm.
don't seek it's frowned upon to try to seek attention, draw attention to yourself.
So I'm curious, you taking your Mercury in Sagittarius. Okay, we have to know your chart. You're a Capricorn. Can I talk about your chart?
Please do.
Okay, so you're a Capricorn sun, but you have a Gemini moon, right? So you have a talkative moon as well. And then you're a Leo rising, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
With the sun in the 5th house.
Okay, interesting. So let's just look at the factor of talkativeness, right? Like, so let's say you have a Gemini moon and Mercury and Sag, so those are talkative imprints. How does your talkative personality, how is it interfaced with different cultures? Like, were some cultures more wanting like women to be seen and not heard, or like is that like how did you find that? I mean, we could look at any characteristic of personality, but like that's one I'm just curious about.
Well, I think in any other Middle Eastern country or kingdom, it might have been an issue. Yes, I can't remember what I have in my chart, but I think maybe with age too, I really kind of submit to the person I'm talking to. Yes, I like to talk, but I'm like, my 50-foot feelers have to feel completely comfortable that I'm not over talking. Probably some childhood messages too. Tammy, shut your mouth.
Mm.
But in that culture, a lot of times I was in places, like I was the singer, on stage, or talking. I wanted to soak there for information. Um, or I was around a lot of Americans too, other expats. Um, like I said, it's 70% expat there, but not all of them are American. And depending on the culture, for example, Filipinos, they are very gracious and allow you to be on the stage. So it's not literal stage, but they want to know more about you. They draw you out.
Hmm.
And so, yes, I do like to talk, but I don't know if it's that Saturn and Chiron in Pisces in the 8th. I have to really trust before I
Hmm.
do.
Interesting.
And isn't Sag Mercury known also to be kind of few to the point, direct?
Interesting. What do you think,
Definitely,
Rachel?
definitely direct. So,
Fiery, so and inspiring and philosophical.
yes, for sure.
Yeah. Okay, so Jen is asking, have you been to France as an astrologer? My astrologer friend who is from France moved to Canada because she found the culture too adverse to astrology and no longer aligned with her.
Good question. I've only visited France, and even then, it was in Nancy and Paris, so didn't really have astrological experience there.
Hmm.
But
Have you been to India?
I wish. One of my best friends, he is from Kerala, India. He lives in Bahrain. I'm going back to visit there in May for 3 weeks. Really excited about that. And he's a devout Roman Catholic, and he kind of keeps me updated on a lot of things India, and I know quite a few from India as well. Very different from the north to the south, I guess, just like U.S.
Yeah. I'm interested if in different cultures, like how much the astrological clock is at play. Like, I
Mhm.
think I don't know how we would even say it. Like America is such a weird country because it's so vast. It's like the hugest place. Like it's almost like every state is its own country. I mean, like, do you guys think that that affects how a country sees astrology? Is if it's like huge, it's going to have a million different thoughts. I mean, I don't know. What do you guys think about the hugeness of America versus the smallness of these other countries?
Well, and let's look at the continent of Africa, and its size. Um, much like, I mean, it's so different from um, country to country to country to country, or the embracing of astrology is so dependent on Gen X versus Gen Z versus, so it kind of depends on the generation and the makeup in that state. Speaking of US,
Mhm.
yeah.
It's crazy to think of what composes a culture because I think okay, there's a few things to it. One is the climate that, like, okay, so as a linguist, we know that language and culture develop, simultaneously. Like, for example, Inuits who live around a lot of snow have like 20 words for the snow because they see all different kinds of snow. And so they make all this different words for snow. And so a lot of a culture is the language. Like, like you can take a metal song and you can have a Southern Baptist metal band play it in Georgia or something like that. And then you can take it into Iceland and have the Icelandic metal guys play the same chord progression. And like there's a different feel to the song because of like the language and the climate in which Iceland is. And like it's just interesting to look at cultures and how they're on different ley lines and different geographic, and then also they have a different language which develops, and then different systems in the government. And it's like, so Tammy, what is your anatomy of like what makes a culture? Like what is that?
Wow, that's a big question. I think I've never really thought about it until I was plopped into that culture and started going and feeling the differences. Um, I also did an assignment in Fairbanks, Alaska, and the view, I was really kind of surprised at, but once I see, it's almost like I have to go in, feel it, and then my head will start analyzing it. So that Gemini moon, people will say, do you just think and analyze everything? Well, no, I feel it first. I will feel it. And when I flew into Fairbanks, a lot of good people there, a lot of people love, love, love it. It wasn't a fit for me. Maybe it was astrocartography. But I could feel the depression as soon as I landed. There's a lot of struggle there. Doesn't really address your question because I'm not sure how to answer that.
Well, we could analyze it and say it's really dark there for half the year, right?
Truth, a lot of poverty, lot of poverty, and a lot of homeless. And back when I went, which was easily 11, 12 years ago, to go have breakfast, which was simply a cup of coffee, 2 eggs, 2 bacon, 2 toast, cost $13. That was 12, 13 years ago. So probably there, and I mean, you guys are gonna laugh, because I'm sure it's pretty expensive where you are, but, other than Hawaii and London, there is no more expensive than Alaska in my experience.
Hmm. It would be hard to be homeless in Alaska. It's cold.
Right?
Jeez.
Like, really, really a struggle, and a lot of out of survival, a lot of drug use, you
Yeah.
know,
Have
the
you
gen
ever
the
oh
American
sorry.
Indian or the Native American.
Have you ever been to a really violent culture?
I have to think. In a very, I wouldn't say it's traditionally violent, but I found Naples, Italy to be pretty difficult in a lot of ways. The mafia is definitely in control there. Even our base is rented from the mafia. That's
Mm,
not just gossip, it's fact.
interesting.
Um,
Well,
so it's like low key,
yeah,
not violent but aggressive.
yeah. You know why I asked that is that there was a point where I was kind of like tripping on astrological remediation among cultures. This was like years ago, and I was kind of like having like a little bit of a psychotic moment, and I was like tripping on like how would we fix like violent cultures, and I was like going on like, and I was like thinking of like machines where you could like get all their guns under the ice and then freeze all their guns. Like I was like literally tripping on remediation culturally. Like I
That's
don't know what.
interesting.
Well, because I was thinking about how okay, so near the equator, like when people get really warm, they say that there's more violence. Like they say that people near the North Poles have very few wars. Like for example, because it's very cold, and then if you're more near the equator, it can be more hot and rash because people are hot. You know, so then it was making me think about like how would we deal with like really hot cultures that are like when Mars comes through, then they're like really getting hot under the collar. You know what I mean? So I
Yeah.
think, yeah, I don't know. So I just was curious if you'd ever literally experienced that. You
I have
know?
to think about that. I really do, because I have found that aggression expressed in the US is the most extreme.
Oh, I would believe that. Yeah.
Um, it's so interesting the way that things are expressed, even in a traditionally aggressive country like um, at least Naples, part of Italy. Um, it's understated. Think Sopranos minus the guns, anyway.
Mm.
It's suggested. It's the same with my experience, anyway, with Bahrain, is that you make your point, and that culture, if because I opened a business there, right? And a friend of mine, he's, you can't get anywhere unless you have somebody who is Arab to go with you. And probably the fact that he was male. And he looked at me and he said, "Okay, I need you to not be American when you go in there and talk to the consulate." I said, "Not be American? What are you talking about?" He said, female Americans, you will be very subtle. They look for strength, so must be direct and you must be very clear at what you want. You have to be more man. And he was right. That's exactly what I did, and it worked. But they will initially say no, and then you go in and make your point. It's a very logical culture. So you go in and you make your point, and then if it makes sense, then they will. So I got used to what they call American privilege, where if I wanted something, I would go ask and I would push for it and I would get it. That's addictive.
Oh, interesting.
It's really addictive too.
Oh my God. Tammy, I want you to be like our cultural representative where we look at different charts and how they would be received in different cultures. I just think that's such an interesting like interface, you know?
I
Um,
would love that. I'll wear the color of the culture.
okay. Okay. You can like have a different color. Rachel, do you have any questions on your list there?
Yeah, you back to the trauma informed astrology. You're going for accreditation in that, correct?
I'm researching that. I'm
Okay.
researching that
Wait, how do you get
because,
accreditation? Oh, sorry.
again,
How do you get accreditation in that?
For certification. There,
certification.
yeah, I used the wrong word.
So, astrology cert and licensure and counseling, I can probably make do with that. I can
Yeah.
probably make do with that. But I'm a learning fiend, apparently. Instead of feeling my feelings, I learn things, right?
Gemini moon.
So, I'll probably go that direction. Yeah. What is your
Yeah.
moon, Rachel?
Gemini.
Gemini moon. So, you get
Mhm.
it. Okay.
Very much
Is
so.
that
Constant
books
learning.
behind you or pictures? Because I was going to say I could see that being.
Yeah, they're buttons. It's my business.
Oh, got it. Got it. Okay.
She's the button girl.
The
That's
button girl.
yeah.
Yeah.
Rachel, you should make Tammy a button.
Okay.
Oh, you should make me a button, Rachel.
I'll
Yeah.
send it to her. if you give me a button at class.
You're
Tammy,
so awesome.
what kind of button do you want?
Oh, I don't
Rachel,
know.
you could be
I do
inspired.
have a beautiful yellow rose.
Oh my
That would
god.
be cool.
I want to buy Tammy a button.
Okay.
You're
It is
so
done.
awesome.
Okay.
You bought me a button.
And I'm gonna send it to her in a surprise pack, and I'll put some stuff in there because we always like to send stuff to people who have been on the
That
show.
is such a personal touch. What's your Venus?
Me?
Yeah.
Venus and Libra on the 5th.
Is it really Venus and Libra? I like
Square
that.
Jupiter and Cancer.
We need some. Woof, we need some more of that in this world.
I know I'm a little too giving. It's actually irritating.
I
Okay.
do. Ugh.
Okay, well, Tammy, we have 4 minutes left, and really what we need to do in this 4 minutes is to let people know where they can find you, what you offer, and yeah, just all that stuff because
Oh,
you are
good, Miss Myers-Briggs J.
I'm an ENTJ.
Yes, you are. Same as me.
Really?
What?
Oh my
Actually,
god.
I'm an ESTJ.
Cheers. Cheers. Okay.
Ching ching.
I'm your ENFP.
Ah,
Okay.
I love it. Our 50-foot feeler over here, as they say in Texas. Okay, so Tammy Terrell, and if you guys would like, look me up on YouTube and Facebook and under Texas Desert Rose. Also, now there's 2 apparently, but I don't grow plants, so I'd be the other one. Yeah, and message me there. I would love to hear from you guys. And it's really been such a shot in the arm to be able to be a part of this, you guys.
Oh man, we would love to have you back. I want you to be our cultural representative.
I'll be a cultural rep.
Oh my god. Okay. We can have you on panels where we talk about the intersections between the chart and culture.
I would just love that. Oh, that'd be an honor. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much. So can people find you on Facebook as well?
Well, yeah, Texas Desert Rose.
Oh, okay. Texas.
Yeah, I've got a Facebook there and email of Texas Desert Rose 1111 at Gmail.
Okay.
And happy Mars Pluto Day.
Oh my god, we got through it. 111 at Gmail. I know we're almost through the Mars Pluto, you guys.
Ugh.
That was easy. Just
now you did it.
yeah, that was I will never forget this transit, honestly.
Pretty memorable. Not gonna lie.
Go ahead.
Where's your Mars?
Guess. Just
No.
assess me, please. It will not insult me.
God. Okay, the reason I was asking was just getting your 9th house getting so activated in Aries. And
yes,
so that's
Mars is in Libra in the second. They call us the baby snake. You know, we save everything up and then we lash out. And I would say that is true for me.
So that opposition to your 9th. Well, yep. I'm looking at it through a whole sign perspective.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to make you a snake to go with your button. You're a baby snake. All right,
a snake with the yellow rose. I like it.
All right, baby snake, you're getting a snake. All right, Tammy, they say it takes 200 hours to turn someone from an acquaintance into a friend. So we're on hour 7 right now. I can't wait to be friends.
Oh, I was already counting that. Okay, I understand. Boundaries are good.
No, I'm just kidding. We can be 7-hour friends.
7-hour friends.
All right, nice. All right, everyone. Thank you for being here today. We'll see everyone tomorrow on
Blessings.
Facebook.
Thank you so much.
Bye.